Welcome back to N2 the Chatterverse, where two gents share their 2 cents on pop media. I am Victor Danders, the hardest working man in comics.
And I'm Bill, and OH.
Listen. I watched that game to the end. It was great. Then I got a little nervous. I ain't gonna lie, but then it got great again. I appreciate the sportsmanship amongst them. Like there was that one play that almost could have been a pickoff. And it was dropped at like the very last minute, and they like congratulated each other.
Yeah.
And I was like, look, I like that.
Yeah,
man.
I like that too.
That was beautiful.
Yeah, I've never been that angry at a sporting event in a long time. And in the fourth quarter, I was literally, I was like, I think I threw like a blanket, but like I was so mad.
Like, what are we doing?
You know, like letting them back in and everything, and they Notre Dame fought hard.
They did. Big respect.
As I told someone today, I go, either way I win, because if Ohio State didn't win, Notre Dame had to do it with an OSU alum as head coach.
Also true.
Yes.
Good point. But yeah, big shout out to the Bucks. I heard that fans broke into the horseshoe after the game, and I'm like,
as long as they didn't burn it down. I
didn't look when I pulled in today, but it doesn't look like it. So good for us.
Yeah.
Good for us. Couches didn't burn as bad, which is good. So okay, big reveal here. I am a new member of the romantasy genre readership. It all started with Rebecca Yarros's brilliant series, Fourth Wing, and I have to blame, and I do mean this word very specifically, blame Dr. Vanessa Hentz for putting me onto this thing because she got put on by her sister Sylvia, and all of a sudden she's like, this is the greatest book of all time, and you need to read this, and I'm like, it's not my jam. Right? Like I'm a comic book guy, right? I'm not saying that I don't appreciate books, but I'm much more of a Chuck Palahniuk, kind of flavor. Like that's the kind of books that I've been reading. A little bit of Daniel Akin. Like I read stuff like that. She's like, nah, you got to read this. And I'm like, what's it about? She's like, dragons. And I'm like, I don't know. She's like, it's like a YA novel. I'm like,
yeah, I know.
all the things you're listening right now.
Like, how could it get any worse? I guess I don't.
I don't want it. But we're at Emerald City Comic Con in Seattle last year, and Rebecca Yarros is there, right? Mm-hmm. And Vanessa like stands in line for an autograph. She's like, please come with me so you can take pictures. And I'm like, bet, like I'll do that. So take pictures of their meeting. It's fun. She's like, there's a panel later. You got to come with me to this. I'm like, I got you. So in the panel, we're watching it, and I dig what Rebecca is saying. Like she's got a vibe to her. The content, like the room was packed. Like right. I got to give her mad credit. She had the room packed. And so I'm like, all right, this is interesting. Now I kind of hang to the back of the room, and I end up standing next to her son, who the day before he was wearing a Buffalo Bills jersey. And I'm a Buffalo Bills fan. So we start talking. I'm like, yo, like you a Bills fan? He's like, absolutely. I'm like, we just became besties. Like, good job.
Explain that one.
How did I become a Bills fan?
Yeah.
This is, okay, random. John Madden's video game, 1993, on the Sega Genesis. Yeah. My dad played with the Buffalo Bills because they were like the best team in the game. And that was about the time when I was really trying to win my father's approval. So what he seemed to like, I seemed to like.
Okay.
So there you go.
It's nice to know you picked a team that has never won the Super Bowl.
Ever. 4 times. Back to back. Never won. Yeah. But I digress. So like we start vibing off of that. He's looking at my shoes. He's like, wait, what are those? I'm like, oh, I make these. He's like, oh, that's cool. So we start vibing. So because her kid was cool. And I mean, he's like truly a kid. Like I think they were doing like college visits and type stuff. And so we're just kind of, rapping whatever. And I was like, are you proud of your mom for all this? And he's like, absolutely. And I was like, is this a series that I should give a try to? And he's like, yeah. I was like, have you read it? He's like, she won't let me. And I was like, oh, then I'm definitely going to read it now. Because if there's anything in it that she's like, no, I don't want you to read that yet.
Well, but he's like, yeah, you should read something that I've never read.
I've never read.
Okay.
So that's why I'm like, okay, like I get the support of the kid, yep. Right? He is literally roaming around the country with his mom, and he's of a particular age where, not for nothing, if I were in that same boat, I would totally be using that to score. Not even gonna lie. Like, my mom's fair. Rebecca Yarros, right? Like, he was just so cool about it. So I was like, you know what? Let me give this book a shot. So I buy a copy and read Fourth Wing. And before I finish Fourth Wing, I find out that there is a second book called Iron Flame that's already out. So I'm like, okay, all right, cool. We're going to double up. For the first time in my life, I ever stayed up to 3 o'clock in the morning to finish a book because I was into it. And I was mad. Like, I am a grown man, okay? What do I look like caring about some, war colleges, like little kids doing I'm into it. I'm absolutely into it. So last night I went to a midnight release for a book, and I have never done that before. I've done midnight releases for movies. I've even done a midnight release for, Action Comics 1000. But for an actual regular novel, never done it before. This series got me there. And I'm very, I have not really cracked this open yet, but I'm super excited to get into it. Are you much of a reader of novels like this?
No.
Okay.
I mean, I read from time to time, and I'm not an avid reader. And it's one of those things where I have to be into whatever it is.
Right.
Like, I'll be honest with you, Peter David is one of my favorite authors.
Of course.
Crichton was also one of my favorite authors.
I'm game with that, yeah.
And I also read 3 of the Jack Ryan books as
nice.
well.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, if it's something I can get into, yeah. I think I got a third of the way through The Stand and I tapped out. I was just like, there's just too many words here.
There's so many.
And I get it, but also, come on, move it on, move it on.
Wrap it up, B.
Yeah.
Wrap it up. No, I'm not a Stephen King fan in terms of reading his work. I love his concepts.
Yeah,
I think those are fantastic. But it's he's the reason why Too Long Did Not Read exists to me. I just can't do it. But this one, I'm gonna make the recommendation. If you get a chance, audiobook it, so that it reads to you, while you're driving to and from work or whatever, and just see if it catches you. Because that was one of the things that worked for me, was to sit down and take the time to read is difficult. I'm a content creator. I'm writing, I'm doing all these other things. So to take time to read is tough. But I did go to YouTube and find that there was an audiobook version for free on YouTube, so I could listen to it while I was doing other stuff. And it added to my enjoyment to the point where I could listen, figure out where I was, and then find it in the book and keep going if I had downtime. Never have I done that before, which is such a compliment to Rebecca and the world that she's built. The story, Violet, Xaden, screw you, Dane, I don't like you still. But all these different things, this is a really well-written series. And I'm very, I don't want to say shocked. As a writer, right, I'm supposed to be open to other things like this, but this truly was not my jam. And I'm always curious, how many things do we kind of close ourselves off to and go, well, I'm not really interested in that thing. But would it be possible, could I get you to read this, even though it's not necessarily your jam, depending on what I compared it to?
I mean, if it's something that someone's so passionate about, and and there's nothing in it that is just okay, no, that's just not for me at all. The YA aspect of it, that doesn't bother me that much.
Okay.
I mean, if you said, hey, here's this, give it a try. Yeah, I'll give it a try.
Okay. All right. I'm going to slide you a copy of it just to see if you're interested. Because I think it's a very interesting phenomenon, at the very least, from the sake of pop culture. There was a line of folks waiting to get an autograph from her last year, and there was a good 24 people at the very least at the book loft last night. So we're not talking a major chain bookstore. This is one of those, if you're not from Columbus or an avid fan of German Village, you might not even know what the book loft is. There was at least 24 people there early, for the 11 o'clock kickoff for the 12 o'clock sale. And to me, I'm man, I know that there had to be other people. When I was pulling up today, I saw clear fans of the series leaving Barnes & Noble. I'm oh, I know what you're here for. You could see it. And I don't know that I've seen a phenomenon like that since Harry Potter or Twilight, and
right.
I'm just curious, is that do you think there's a, I don't know, a shift or something, every so often that there's a book series that just captures everybody and it becomes the new it thing? Is that?
Because wasn't Aragon one of those things?
Oh, I don't know that one.
Yeah.
What's Aragon? I don't know that one.
Yeah, that was a huge online thing.
Was it?
And it became a movie. It was actually supposed to be called Dragon, but
Okay.
the way he made the D, it looked like an E.
Seriously?
So he stuck with Aragon. Yeah. It apparently was a huge internet success, but did not do well as a movie.
Oh, I'm trying to think of this movie. Who is in this?
I think you're going to be shocked.
I absolutely am, because I have no idea what this is. They still called it Aragon as a movie. Okay. Jeremy Irons is in this? Hold on.
Robert Carlyle.
Wow.
Malkovich.
Shimon Hansu?
Yeah. Rachel Weisz. Well, she was just a voice, but still.
All right, I might have to. Should I watch? Have you seen this?
No.
Okay.
Let's see. What's the rating on this?
PG?
5.1 out of 10.
Okay, so not like a great movie at all. Okay, all right. Yeah, what's Rotten Tomatoes say? I'm so I do not know this one. You're serious? Like the D looked like an E.
Yeah.
Okay.
124 reviews.
Wow. 15%.
15%. More than a quarter million reviews.
Wow.
From fans at 46%.
46%.
Yeah.
Was that the D? Because I mean that definitely looks like an E. Is that what it always was?
That's just what I was told.
Okay. All right. That's so funny. That is so funny.
Yeah, the movie's 19 years old.
What?
Well, 18 years, because December.
Still.
Yeah.
Jeez.
I'm curious as to who did the voice work for the audiobook on YouTube.
I did know this, and now I can't remember. It was a very prominent lady. She did a great job. I'm sure it's on there. Like we can definitely look it up. But yeah, she did a great job. It was great to hear. I did judge a little bit going into Iron Flame, where it picks up on a very like action oriented scene, and I didn't feel like she read with enough inflection to get across the action. But that was me being nitpicky, and again after I had stayed up till like 3 a.m. to get to that place. So, yeah.
What was the name of it?
Fourth Wing.
As in,
Yep.
Go down there.
And is that the one?
This?
That's the author, but I don't think that's because I didn't have it cut up in chunks like that. I thought it said on the thing that I watched. I mean, these are relatively recent, so these are a lot of people
3 months ago
uploading that. But yeah, this is like last March, April.
Oh, okay.
That I was into this, so
yeah. All right. Well,
but
whatever.
I mean, yeah. So clearly popular enough that people are posting their readings of it and all that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess it's the season for this one. Super popular, and it's got a good touch of dirty to it. Like I'm not gonna lie. Like you're reading it and you're like, oh, cool, dragons. There's betrayal. There's all this weird stuff, and then it starts getting dirty. I'm like, this is dirty. Like, oh, y'all are using good words here. And no joke, I was flying from, I can't remember where I was flying from. I was at an airport for layover and saw a couple, and the wife was reading Fourth Wing, and you could tell like she had just gotten started, maybe a chapter or so in, and her husband, big dude from New York, he's just kind of sitting there playing on his phone, whatever, and I see him get up and go to the bathroom, and having read both Fourth Wing and Iron Flame at the time, I'm like, let me put my man on. And so I catch him coming back from the bathroom. I'm like, hey, let me ask you a question. I was like, is that your lady over there reading Fourth Wing? And he's like, yeah. And I was like, have you read it? And he's like, no. And I was like, listen. There's a free audiobook of it on YouTube. Listen to it. Just listen to it and then bring it up to her. Like, just randomly, like, hey, what do you think about such and such? Don't tell her that you're reading it. Just bring it up. And I promise you, you'll thank me. And he's like, really? And I'm like, dude, I was like, listen, I've read both books. Like the 2 books that are out, I've read them both. Do it. And he's like, all right. Like you can see it in his. He's like, you know something. I'm like, I do know something, and I'm telling you to do this. And like he dabs me and he goes on about his business. I have no idea if he did it, but I tell you what, if he did, I know I'm right. So fellas, if you're out here and your lady's reading this book, read it. Bring it up. I promise you, it won't just be dragon fire that keeps things hot, baby. Trust me. Okay, so with that out of the way, we've got a show that we're going to this weekend.
Yeah, it's going to be my first Fan Expo event.
Hey!
Out in Portland.
Super excited that you're coming with. We're going to kick things off with dinner with David Walker, noted comic book writer, lives in Portland, good friend. He already texted me today. He was like, hey, dinner? And I'm like, absolutely. So
what, Thursday night?
Thursday night, yep.
What time?
I told him I don't get in until 6, so we'll see from there. I'm not sure.
So dinner's like at 8 o'clock?
I hope not. Like, I'm hoping like
come on.
Like
be
7.
Be
7.
realistic.
Come on.
You going to the hotel first?
Yeah, we can get dinner by the hotel. There's lots of places by the hotel.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Okay, that's still 10 o'clock.
Don't say that. Per our time, it is. No, it's true.
Yeah, it's definitely tough.
But no, I've got a fun schedule.
Okay.
Like I just pulled up. I've got 7 panels, mix of different folks. Christopher Lloyd is on there. I've got James Marster, which is cool. John Rhys Davies, who I love talking to John Rhys Davies. Like he is a ball of energy for a man that is as stately and like seasoned as he is. Like he is constantly moving around and telling the greatest stories of all time. Love chatting with him. And then I've got some, like, not that I have anything against this show at all. I just I'm not as familiar with it. But like I've got Hell of a Boss and Has Been Hotel as separate panels, and then I have them as a joint panel for voice actors, which is going to be. I don't think I'm going to get a word in. I'm just going to be like, and go and just watch what happens, because the antics of those guys are insane. Brandon Rogers, Richard Horvitz, like so many folks, it's absolutely nutty. But with this being your first Fan Expo, what are you looking forward to out there?
Just the vibe.
Okay.
Just to get the lay of the land type of thing. And maybe meet some celebrities.
Like who? Who is on your wish list of celebs to meet?
Actually, you know what? I had this conversation yesterday. That someone said to me that they felt that Tyler Hoechlin was probably their most favorite live action Superman.
Really?
I'm like, that's legit to me.
Yeah.
Because
no argument.
I loved the way he portrayed it, and I loved Bitsy's Lois.
Absolutely. She, since I had them in New Orleans, and off stage, I brought up how much I loved her dress in the heaven scene. Spoilers. You know, she told me she couldn't stand that dress, that because of the sequence, it was cutting her up one way and down another. She hated that thing. I'm like, but you look so good in it. She's like, everyone says that, and wanted to know, like, did you take it with you? And she's like, absolutely not. Like, I hated that thing. I'm like, man.
So I'm going to back her on that one, and it's mostly because of how I feel about women who wear high heels.
Do tell.
They hurt so much, but it looks so good. I'm like, that. I'm sorry. You're sacrificing one thing for another, and
that's fair.
That just doesn't work for me. I'm sorry.
I totally get
also,
that.
Heels don't do anything for me.
You're not a leg guy, are you?
No, I like legs.
But it's not about the height.
It's not about the height.
Not about the heights. That's
Yeah.
Okay, I got you. But yeah, no, definitely seeing Bitsy and them will be fantastic. She's doing a panel, like running a panel, which I'm super excited. I won't give away which one it is, but I'm super excited for that one because I got to write the questions for it, and I had fun. I had a lot of fun. Anybody else that you're excited about? I mean, obviously you're a Supernatural fan in all 172 seasons of Supernatural that have just dropped during our recording of this podcast.
Yeah, I've never watched Supernatural.
It happens.
Which is amazing because I think was it on like the same time as Smallville?
Yeah, I think so.
And then crossover into the Arrowververse. At the
In
same
terms of time, yeah.
Not storyline.
Yeah. No. I think in terms of time, yes.
And
Ohio's
yeah, because
Eric Kripke?
Padalecki. Padalecki was on Smallville,
Yeah.
and he was only on for a season, and then started Supernatural.
That's right. That's right.
And then he became the Captain America version of In the Boys.
That's right.
Yeah.
Because Eric is the show creator of both, if I'm not mistaken, showrunner, creator, whatever. Which he's actually somebody that is on my wish list to meet, because he's from Ohio, and I didn't know this for like the longest time. He's from Toledo, and
Well, it's Ohio adjacent.
I mean it is a suburb of Michigan, but we're not going to talk about that. Because have you? Do you go to Toledo ever?
I have been through Toledo.
Okay, that's more than fair. That's more than fair. What's funny is like as a city in Ohio, right? Like logistically in Ohio, the amount of maize and blue that permeates that place is insane. Like the University of Toledo, their color scheme, same.
Yeah.
One of my best friends, he graduated from Whitmer High School in Toledo, same color scheme. I'm like, yo, y'all are only Ohioans based on the drawings of a map. Like that is it.
Well, I just, you hear about how Michigan and Ohio went to war
Yes!
over Toledo,
Yes!
and I feel like we lost.
I do too. They're like, oh yeah, no, you guys won, you won. No. It's not true. But yeah, I definitely am looking forward to one day meeting Eric, because I just want to pick his brain. I think he's done some great shows, even if like I have not like watched a ton of them. Right, like I never got onto Supernatural. It wasn't my vibe. And not saying that I wouldn't watch it, but I just have never actually watched it, because again, it's like 212 seasons, and that's a long time to watch anything outside of One Piece, and even that I still haven't watched. But like I think he's got like a great eye for storytelling, especially when it came to deciding that there's an endpoint for the boys, like saying like, hey, no, there's a point where we're not telling stories any further, and I respect that. Like I like that sort of direction, and having a goal and saying, okay, we're going to meet this or we don't. Like that's the thing. We're going to tell this story. I think that's super important. Anyone else that you saw on the listing that you're excited to meet?
I mean, going back to Smallville.
Yeah.
Tom Welling will be there.
Yes, he will. Big love for
I
him.
didn't see Rosenbaum on there. Was he not booked for that, or is it one of those things where it's fires?
It's possible because of the fires that he's not on. That is what happened for New Orleans. He was supposed to be booked, and he canceled just for safety's sake, which totally understand. Which was super sweet, because they did call him. Like Tom called him, FaceTimed him while we were on stage, so he did get to shout out to the fans. So if there's a similar situation, that would be super dope as well. So we'll see.
I'm curious as if he got paid for that.
I mean, it's technically an appearance, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I would be like,
a couple shekels, throw me something.
Hey,
you know what I'm saying?
Where is it?
Let me get something. That's above my pay grade. I don't know. But we're going to have some fun. Hopefully, if you guys are in the Portland area, you make your way over to Fan Expo Portland at the convention center. It's a beautiful convention center. I really love that place. Have loved going there since the Wizard World days. And I'm super excited for possibly having room in my schedule for some of the comic book stuff that can be going on, because there's a lot of great comic book talent that's going to be there. I'm super excited. Dan Reba and Stan Berkowitz, that were producers on Superman the Animated Series and Justice League, they're going to be there. And I don't know that they're brought in as like the celebrity guests. I think they're brought in as like the comic book guests. So I'm going to really see if I can like get my way onto their panel, or at the very least go to their panel and ask at least one good question, because it's always a pleasure to chat with those guys, because that's like kind of my childhood, and I like their sense of storytelling is absolutely fantastic. So I'm super excited about that too. So we'll see exactly what all we get to do. But we are going to be recording while we're there. We're going to try to do some live stuff, just to test that out, see how well it works. So we're asking you guys that are subscribers, definitely tune in. And if you're brand new, if you're just now finding us, this might be the reason why you should subscribe. I'm just throwing it out there. If for no other reason for you to heckle how well we do this or not, because we need as much insight as possible, because we're two guys trying to figure it out.
Yeah, and if it doesn't work, you can heckle us for that too.
Absolutely. We'll take the heckles.
Yeah.
With the heckles,
I mean, we've got a video up that has absolutely no audio to it whatsoever.
We do.
And I had a friend of mine say that she got like 5-10 minutes into it and then realized that there was no audio. Like, yeah, there's no audio.
No, none.
Like, I just decided I ate it on that one. Like, that's my bad.
Yeah.
No reason to take it down.
Lesson learned.
You know,
this is what we do.
If anything, it may have been an April Fool joke.
Hey,
Just not on purpose.
It's just not in April, but
Yeah.
we'll do it when we want to. How about that? Well, guys, thank y'all so very much for tuning in. We always appreciate it. Once again, I'm Victor Danders, the hardest working man in comics.
And I'm Bill in Portland. See you this weekend.
Bye.